every time I hear that, I just want to do this little
I know.
dance thing,
I know.
and uh, and I think it's great for our coffee chat on Friday mornings. So everybody, welcome
Yes.
for
Let me tell
our.
you, I'm in my pajamas because there's reasons of that, because it's about 3 inches of snow sitting outside of me.
She
And
loves and she
I
loves the
became
cold.
like a child. That's exactly. I got up this morning and I was telling Jeremy this. I got up this morning at 2 o'clock when I heard the graders, and it was like a childlike energy came through, and it's like, it's not going to be school. And I mean, I just, because teachers are worse than kids when it comes to snow days. And I just loved it because I wish I'd had my big coffee table and I put a puzzle in there. And sometimes with me being the where I am when I was in the farm, I used to be there for almost 5 or 6 days. It was great. I mean, we didn't do anything. We did have usually electricity and all of that, but and we had to go do the horses and all that. But you know, it was like a childlike innocence that would just well up inside of me and just be excited that snow was on the ground. I'm just laughing. It's just, you never think at the age of 72, to get that excited as a child. But isn't that kind of the way we want it to be?
Yeah, it's so funny because I'd get excited, but I don't like the cold.
Neither do I. Neither do I, but I do like the snow. This morning, like I said, I got up at 2 o'clock and I danced a little dance of a child dance, like, oh, they're gonna get off the, and I'm not even in that mode anymore. I've been out of that for almost 25, 26 years. But there's still this spark of, childlike innocent that comes in, because my children felt the same way. Well, first of all, we knew cream. We would do snow cream. Now, to be
Wait,
honest, I don't know
hold
if
on,
I would even do that.
back up. What is snow cream?
You don't know what snow cream is?
No.
Oh my gosh. That's what we'd have to, because the kids would go out and I'd put a big pile of, plastic or whatever we're going to put in it. And we dig. And I'd always say to Jason and Brian, I said, do not pick up yellow snow, because we had 6 dogs. So I mean, you had to be but the kids knew, they were so good. They knew how to get it, a shovel. We would put it in. And then you take sugar and cream. And we always had that at the farm. And you make it ice cream. It's like snow cream. And with a little bit of vinegar. I mean, vinegar. No, a little bit of vin. Uh, well, shoot. Now that's stroke. Um, it's here. Now to bring it back here, it's not vinegar. It is vanilla. Now, see, that's what I was want to come in. Now that's my stroke. It's the little flavoring you put on in cakes and everything, and that doesn't want to come in. Isn't that odd? That's frequency. That's all I can say is that's how I live, to learn how to use that. I can see it, but to bring it here to say it is one thing. And I want to say vinegar because it's the same kind of sound, vinegar, but it is vanilla. There it is. It's vanilla. Do you see that is energy, and that is what I've had to train myself, and you've done that too, because we're dyslexic. If we did not know how to do that, I wouldn't be able to bring that in. That's why a lot of stroke victims do not know how to bring in the words, because I had the word here and vinegar kept coming in because it wasn't matching what it was. I knew what I wanted, but I couldn't bring it in to vocalize, which would be a different energy. God, that's good. I'm much better in the
Do
mornings.
you know what I keep on thinking as we're talking about this is like we're always talking about the innocence of the soul,
Oh gosh, yeah.
and and we're having fun. You're getting excited like school day. It took you to that point
Yeah.
when you were younger and it was like school day or a snow day, whatever, and the fun things that you did at those times in your life. And for those that are watching, how many times have you lost that part of yourself where
Oh my gosh,
you're
yes.
caught up with, everything all.
Yes. The world, you get caught up in life. but it's a
your
different kind of
worries and
life.
your stresses. It steals that charm or that innocence where you were
Yeah.
just so excited about things. And I think that's a lesson to take from this, is to say, wow, where have I lost that part of myself where I lost the magic in the world?
Yeah, it,
So,
it is child magic. And I think that's why people like Christmas, because that reminds them of their childhood, of the glistening. I mean, how the ornaments would look on a tree. But the thing is what they need Christmas in their life every day.
mhm.
We should not be equating to one day or a week, or we should be living like that every day, like we live like that. And well, but when I say that, I pretty much live that way. And I'll tell you why, because I sit out here, my car battery went down and I have a remote. So I knew that it was down. And I sit here and I tried and debate about, do I need to call AAA? And I would go to call them and it would stop me. And I stayed without a car for almost 3 or 4 days. And it didn't bother me because I had already gone the Thursday before. I was told. Now I want everybody to understand this is how it works. When I'm saying told, yeah, I listen. I listen to that fine, fine, voice, and I knew that it said I did. I mean, I had not been out that till that Thursday, and it said you need to go and get to the bank, and I had to get some stuff done, and then it said go to the grocery, and I mean, I didn't even pay. I know what I paid for. It's $52, and I even thought that's funny what I was asking. Everything I needed in the next week because I couldn't get out for the last 3 or 4 or 5 days. And I sat here and I was in completely peace because I'd already been prepared. And it wasn't preparing like, a prepper like I used to. No, I listened. And by listening, it prepared me. And I mean, I've had a wonderful time without a car being in there. And I don't drive a lot, Jeremy. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't use my car a lot. I sit right here and I go somewhere else. I can go anywhere I want to go without ever having to have my body. So, but it's just been interesting to watch this. And then I had,
Oh,
well, huh?
oh, keep going. There was just a comment, and I'll bring it up when you're done.
Okay.
So,
Well, I had family to yesterday. It was like you really need because there was a preparation because they were preparing for snow last night. And I know what that means because I could feel it. And I knew I've been watching the signs. You got to remember, for 72 years, I watched the signs of the weather and I watched as a farmer for 18 years. So I was very clear what something. And so I just took care of everything. I mean, and it was done like that. The AAA guy came in, and then I went straight and got my battery, talked to the guy there. We had a brief moment, but you could feel I was in flow. I was in absolutely in flow. Boom, boom, boom. Went straight in, and I had a moment, and it said, do you need to go to the grocery? I heard that question, and it said, no, you've got everything. Went straight home. And I mean, that all took place in less than 30 minutes.
mm,
And then I came in and sat and just enjoyed the whole rest of the moment. I mean, it was like, wow. And I mean, that's my life. I'm not living a lie. I'm living a very true truth. I used to live in fear or what I was going to make a mistake or if I had missed something. And, I was just thinking about that too. I haven't had a watch for almost 26 years. I haven't had any rings on. Only thing I have usually is you'll see me earrings. And I started laughing because if anybody is really paying attention, I have the same pair of earrings all the time. But yet I've got I've got a lot of them, but I only like certain ones. I only like certain things. Even though I got clothes in there, if I don't feel right in it, I don't wear it. And everything that I'm working on right now is for the benefit of me and how I feel comfortable within me. And that's all I'm doing.
well, I
And
think that I was to say that kind of leads us into this comment because Lou is asking. He says, "Good morning. I was laughing the other day and found myself stopping, not feeling deserving of it. Any suggestions or strategies to help people learn to love themselves?" And one of the biggest ones, Lou, is to jump. I stand in front of the mirror and just say I love myself, looking at myself in the eyes. But then I also ask that question, like you had, um, where you were laughing and you didn't feel deserving of it. I asked myself the question internally, well, what it makes you think you're not deserving? Because there's a point in your life where some things or someone or some circumstances or something in your mind made you think that. So,
Or
or feel
you've been programmed to hear that. Now that could have been anywhere. That could have been your great
school.
grandmother, your great, it doesn't matter, but you took it in. And a
Yeah.
lot of things go in and a lot of things don't stay. So they go right in. But there's a lot of people like sensitives like us, and I'm a sensitive. So I took everything in. And that's where I got into disease because the more energy you take in that is no longer yours and you start creating from a different state of mind, and even your form changes, everything changes because you are aligning yourself to that thought and not what those people have said or the world have said. It doesn't matter. Then that means you are no longer living in a state of living alive. No, no, no. Look, I know. Now let me think about that. You're not living in the true who you are being. You're living in another world being. And that would be almost like being a clone or a zombie. I mean, that really is true. And I've been on those both sides. I know what it was like to be. I thought I was in the world of, wonder. I mean, I had money, we did things, but it was empty. It did not have any life in it. And if it didn't have any life, then it couldn't be. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Logan, my nephew, always catches us when we're in the podcast.
No,
Always.
always.
I'll
And,
call
and it's Lou's making some good comments. He says, he definitely is sensitive, and Lou has has some of the past that I have, where I was raised in a cult, and so I can understand why that programming is so deep because there's all this
oh,
judgment and
yes.
things that you know I mean when they were telling people how to dress women how to what makeup they wear because
Oh my
this
gosh, the
man that
scripted.
this man said he was the person that was connected to God when we all have that connection to spirit whatever you want to refer to it as that's
Well,
men and women.
that's how they took over our minds.
Yeah,
When they made themselves, or when I say they, that could be government, that could be anybody in your
anybody.
life that you have allowed in and you worship or you see them better than you. That is true. So everybody has a anti-God or anti-Christ person or being, and it could be an ideology. Same thing. It's really amazing when people start really taking fun, understanding of who they really are and taking personal responsibility of that. It works. See, I like these little chats because I can lean back in my pajamas and I really don't care.
Lou, no worries. Trust me, I have been there myself, so I totally understand, and
And being
I'm sure we'll connect, and I'm sure you're absolutely beautiful soul. We all have those triggers though, so
right.
and so thank you.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one of those things where when we were going back to the innocence, like I remember when my mother came to me at a very young age, and my mother was a loving mother, but she was programmed and was raised in the same cult or whatever, and so she came to me and said, we're going to stop celebrating Christmas and all the holidays.
Mm,
And
mm.
and it was hard you get as a little kid. She made me take all those down and throw them away. And then and then it was 2 weeks before my birthday, so she said we're no longer going to be celebrating birthdays. And it was all this same church broke up my grandparents, made them get a divorce when they actually did love each other. Because they said that to my grandfather, if you don't get a divorce, your family's going to burn in an eternal lake of fire. This is, because God's going to torment them. And it wasn't until I was about 15 my mother came forward and she goes, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I can hardly believe that a God that says he's loving would burn people in an eternal lake of fire when and to resurrect them from the dead to torture them for eternity. She goes, that doesn't sound like a God I want to follow. So,
That's exactly. That's why I felt. Well, I was, but everybody goes through this, that they have this fear in this state of a God. And I remember when I crossed over the first time that I remembered, it was like, this isn't the same kind of God that I've met. I mean, it was breathtaking because you don't even have a breath. I look back at that because you still, when you first cross over, you still feel like you have a body. You still feel, and I remember when I was crossing over and I was no longer with body, I remember I'm trying to breathe, going, and then this little voice said, "You don't have lungs, dear." I was gone because you're still stuck in the world of men. That's why I say we have ghosts sometimes, Jeremy. Why we have people that are staying into this state of mind is because they don't realize most of the time they're dead.
can we back up to that real quick? Because we were talking about, when they said you don't have lungs, we're talking on an energetic level. Yeah,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
third dimensional space, and that third dimensional space, there is a matter that
Yeah.
is formed into lungs, and that really throws people off. Um, and it was even when I saw Virginia disappear for the first time in front of me, and people have said that's happened when they've sat in front of me as well. The matter, because with her, the physical would disappear because the energy was just so intense and high and everything that, you could barely see. I could see the outline of her eyes, and her hair got really golden, and she's got silver, grayish silver hair, so it turns golden around, and then you can really but that's because we're in such a deep meditative state. um, and one of my closest friends, he jumped up the first time he saw it, and he was like, oh my God, and it freaked him out. And so
Oh my God.
and it was just, it was one of those things where we can all do that. And but that is when you're at this place,
Yeah.
all the
Frozen.
programs now when Virginia comes back out of that state, she worries about her kids. She does all the things. She's a human being, and so do I. But I'm sure you guys have been in a meditative state where you're so relaxed and so at peace that you're like, wow, this is wow. And you're like, I want to stay here. And then you go out and somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you're like, screw you.
Yes.
You know, you're
You talk
still that
right back.
human, so you have to honor that temple. So
Yes, and but that's when you really do understand that from awareness. I would have normally given them the finger if it hadn't been because I wanted to just and then there's a part that stops right there. And says, is that really what you want to do? Do you want to throw that out there? That's when I made my changes right then and right then, right? Because you then realize you have a child, you have a choice, but we consider our choices a lot of times as reactions. And that's not a choice. Choice is yes or no. And you better know those two, that's right out of the Bible. This is what I'm saying. This Bible before, there's a Bible within the Bible. It's right there. Every time you have to make a choice, yes or no, who are you honoring? Who are you serving? Your higher consciousness? Are you still going down into the world of man that's a lower consciousness? I mean, we still feel good in that world because we feel comfortable in that world, even though the situations are horrible. It's like bad clothing. Your clothes don't fit right. That's the way I feel when I go into the world of man. I feel like my clothes don't feel right,
yeah,
and they're twisted or they're, and you feel like it. But when you come back and unravel, and that's what we were talking about the other day, the unraveling of self, there
mhm,
is an unraveling, but you've got to allow it to unravel. You can stop, but you go back to stop, not to participate, but to observe that stop, that event. And it's almost like a little room comes in and I can see everything. I can feel everything that went in the room with everybody in that room, why they thought what they thought. I mean, it's the most amazing thing because I call it the ultimate observer. I don't remember what you call when you're observing.
Oh, I call it being the stillness in the storm. You're the center of the storm, and you're
Okay.
watching everything. But it's
It's
yeah.
amazing
So
because
you
you
become,
get an insight.
and so this question came up about meditation. I mean, I've say it, but here's one of the things I say to a lot of people I work with. I say, stop calling it meditation. Just call it hanging out with yourself and breathing. And
Yes,
yeah, some of that stuff is that's gonna surface. Um, and that's what we're talking about with the unraveling. I just watched somebody the other day. They were literally in the middle of that unraveling, and so
it's
I
beautiful.
was there. I was there. Something got to be so intense, and then they started just bawling, crying, and it was all in a sense beautiful because they released all that trauma. But for those of you that I know a lot of people, they have, because their minds are so active. There's just so much going on in there. Don't even worry about calling it that whole stillness. Just breathe and just be in a quiet space for 5 minutes, and then you do 10 minutes, and then you 15 minutes, and you start going from there. And I wanted to show real quick before we continue on real quick, because I wanted to share with everybody a couple things here, because Virginia and I have a meditation on here where she guides us. On the website, it's called, just says Golden River Meditation. It's like 5-10 minutes. She just goes into breathing, and that's really helpful and stuff like that. I know some of you have already signed up for this, but this has 5 modules where we just talk about some basic principles and the 7 natural laws. We do have a monthly membership, but there's a lot of free stuff on here. We do have these groups. Our next one is on the 31st. Uh, for a 2-hour session. And then we have a webinar this Saturday, and that's pay what you value it at.
Hmm.
And basically, you register and you can pay. Sometimes people pay $5.
Yeah,
Some people 75.
and it's a
The
2 hour
point,
deal. You're going to be there for 2 hours with us.
yeah. And one of the things that Virginia and I believe in is, yeah, of course we have to pay for our bills, but we also don't want to hold people back from. So then there's a whole bunch of other videos and a whole bunch of questions that people ask us at the bottom of the web page. So anyways, I'm gonna stop sharing. So, I just want to make sure that I went through. That's mydivineinheritance.org, which is in the description of the
And
show.
we were just talking about that. I think that is our inheritance, to find out who we really are. That's the only reason why it came out that way, as divine inheritance, because this is our inheritance of our soul. And this is who we really are. And when you find out who you really are, I mean, I really like me. And I remember the days when I didn't. And I was pretty, I look back at that, and I'm in my house that I've been with me since I was 8 years old. So when I remodeled it, but it's still, there's a part of this house that's very much my memories that come in. And sometimes I'll go in, and I remember I was a really sweet young girl that, but I am a courageous woman. And I get that because I was very weak. I was very athletic, but I was very weak with my mind. I was very well easily programmed. And because of that, and being able to understand that two processes, that's why I'm more courageous. Because when you really do face your own self and really get real with yourself, then there is nothing else but that. And that's how it works. And that's why Jeremy and I teach this. We want everyone to have that.
Yeah, sorry with the internet, because we're having internet issues this morning apparently with the streaming.
Yeah.
So, but happens.
Yes. And I mean, and we're going to have to get, I mean, there's something going on energetically, and you know that too, Jeremy. We've both been talking about this. There is something else going on, and you have to become very aware. And like this innocence of this child feelings, you're going to have all kinds of experiences. And one thing that we were talking about, and I find this with a lot of sensitives, they felt doubt the very beginning of this new year, doubt, uh, anxiety, depression. And I thought, and I was asking a podcast just recently, said, was that the collective? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because people that are sensitive like we are, you feel every new collective change in the shift. So we have to become aware. But also, something when you start really going into the depth of this meditations and the stillness, your skull will change. And I can guarantee you. So become very aware. You might have bumps, you might think, because your skull starts changing because you electromagnetically start changing it first. And the only reason why I know that is because I have charted my skull movement. And the more you go deep enough, the more your body changes, your bones will change. Everything starts changing because you are changing a different light source back into the body that has not been there in that kind of voltage. And it is a voltage. So yeah,
Yeah, we've been talking about that voltage for a
yeah,
couple weeks.
that voltage has come up a lot. So and that was what they were talking about my battery. I mean, look at everything. I didn't have a battery for 4 or 5. Well, I think it was 3 days. But you know what? I had to create my own battery.
Yeah,
So this is a lot what we're teaching is doing self-evaluation, being honest with, I mean, majority of the people in this world, and I mean billions and billions, are not honest with themselves. And most of the time, the people around them, they're trying to please, or they're trying to always have an agenda to come back ahead. That would be your narcissist, you'd be people that are, victims. They're all in there, but we're all a part of it until you can find that within you. I remember when I found out I was a victim, and I never thought I was a victim, but the only thing I was a victim of is when I'd go to my home. I was very brave on the outside of that in my classrooms with my parents, with my, superiors. I was very calm. I was very courageous in it. Not at home, I wasn't. And that was really a hard thing to look at. That the
yeah. I don't
people
know the
I
internet.
know, huh?
Sorry, my internet just keeps on going out.
I know, but they're not missing. They're missing a lot of this, aren't they?
Well, I think they're getting you. They're not getting me,
Okay,
but
good.
that's okay.
Well, it doesn't matter then. So because I'm on a roll right now, so you catch it while I can. Because when I'm in the mode of it, then Jeremy knows that when he's the mode, we sit down and we really work with each other just to listen. Sometimes I just feel it, just like this morning, bringing me up about the child, bringing things up because this is my life. This is your life, but you have gotten into a program of automation. You just get automatic, and you don't even miss a. Here is baby. So baby must be thinking that I'm out, that my grounding needs to come back in because or no, he's coming in for energy because he feels it. He only comes to visit when he's got a lot of energy around me.
So that's what one of the things she's talking about is being sensitive to everything, including the movements, animals, and just paying attention to everything that's going on around you. And so,
Every
when
detail.
I used to have a Rottweiler and a Russian Blue, and when I was not in balance, when I was being, in this mode, I'd have the Rottweiler lay his head in my lap, and I'd push, be like, not right now, because I'd be working on the computer, and then I would have the Russian Blue cat, who was only 6 pounds, lay across the keyboard. Yeah, we could say that, yeah, they want attention. However, they're also very sensitive to energy like us, and so they're
Absolutely.
like, "No, you're way out. You're stressing too much. You're focused. You're not getting enough rest. Whatever." They sense that kind of thing, and so one of the things. I mean, think about how they are with their packs, and you're a part of their pack when they're in your life. So
Mhm.
something to really
And
think
now,
about.
and baby, well, he's so funny because I thought he was coming in because I wasn't grounded. No, I'm very grounded. He's been wanting to sit right underneath my hand and just absorb it.
Yeah,
So that
so
tells me that I'm grounded. That's why he comes in. Now, if I'm not grounded, he comes in and he'll bite me or, nudge on. That's why you got to listen to everything. I mean,
yeah,
that's why you build your sensitivity.
yeah,
I like these
and
little
then
chats.
yeah, this was good.
Uh huh.
Um, I got to meet that sweet kitty. Good morning, guys. Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you and meet you. Everybody, we will be back at 9:30 for 30 minutes every week. Like I mentioned, we have our webinar tomorrow. If you would like to be a part of that, it's from 2 to 4. It's on our website, mydivineinheritance.org. Um, find it specifically on your channel, but I haven't found it yet. Blue, I got your email. I'll send it to you. I'll send you whatever you need. So, everybody have a wonderful week and many blessings.
And have a snow day.